I think the majority of teachers and students are going to spend time in the newsfeed section, because really the newsfeed section is a culmination of Facebook and Twitter, all within a nice, closed, safe, secure Peel environment. And I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what the newsfeed is and how you can use it instructionally. So what you'll see on my newsfeed is I have a series of posts. Your newsfeed, by default, defaults to something called following. So you can see I have a following section, I have an everyone section, I have a mention section. But by default, I'm currently looking at the following section. So your newsfeed is automatically driven based on 4 criteria of the things I'm following. And in Office 365, you can follow people, you can follow documents, you can follow sites, and you can follow tags. So I'm currently following 67 people. If one of those 67 people does something within the environment, my newsfeed gets updated saying this person just did this. If I'm following a document and that document gets modified, changed, deleted, I'm notified in my newsfeed that the document was changed, modified, or deleted. If I'm following a site, and again, a use case here would be if I've got a site specifically for the course I teach or the homeroom I teach, if something happens on that site, I don't have to go to the site. It's aggregated up to my newsfeed where I can see it, just from staying on one specific place. And the last thing you can follow is tags. So for those of you who've used Twitter, this is like having a hashtag. It's not actually a Twitter hashtag, but it's similar in functionality to a Twitter hashtag, but it's specifically built within the Office 365 environment. So I want to give a demonstration of how to post something to your newsfeed. So the very, very simplest way to post is just to type something in. So this is a test. Very, very, very simple newsfeed post. I click the word post, and you'll notice everything you do in Office 365 is accountable to you. My avatar is next to my post. It shows that I'm online. It shows the message. It tells me when I posted it. And everyone who's following me will automatically see that on their newsfeed, and they can interact with it. So people can like the post if they want. They can reply to the post as well. Or they can, or there's other options as well. I can copy a link to the conversation, I can follow up, or I can lock the conversation. I do want to talk a little bit about locking the conversation, because in previous demos that I've done, teachers are somewhat leery about some posts they might want to post and say, I don't want any replies, or I don't want any likes. If you post a status message and you don't want any interaction or any collaboration on it, you can lock the conversation, meaning that no one else can reply to it and no one else can like it. But you can also unlock the conversation to allow that collaboration to take place. So that's a very, very basic post. And you can see as I've been going here, my newsfeed is actually growing. I now have 2 more items for my following newsfeed, and I actually have 1 mention. So, and I now want to do a more advanced post. Let's say, for example, I'm an algebra teacher and I'm flipping my classroom, giving my students videos to watch at night so they can come in and talk about it during the day. I can certainly use my newsfeed to do that. Now, I'm going to use my global newsfeed. What a teacher might do is use their site newsfeed, and I'll talk about that in a little more detail later on. So I'm going to whip across to a new tab, and I'm going to go to YouTube. And if I'm a math teacher, I probably have used the Khan Academy before. So I'll search Khan Academy for algebra, simple equations. So I'm on YouTube.
We have the equation.
So I'm going to stop it there because, we don't need to learn about simple equations right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the URL for the simple equations YouTube video just by going up to the top in the address bar and copying it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to post a message to anyone who follows me here, and I'm going to post that YouTube video into it. So I'll say, hey, check out this video. And I paste the URL. Office 365 is smart enough to know that this is a YouTube video, so it automatically puts a little thumbnail in my post. I can also @mention someone. Let's say, for example, Mr. Cash is a member of my class, and I really want him to watch this video tonight. So I want to mention him specifically on my post. As soon as I hit the @ sign on the keyboard, it knows I want to mention someone by name. So I'm going to type in Mr. Cash. And there he is. I can select him. So now I've @mentioned Mr. Cash. Please like this video. And then I'll put a hashtag in. And the benefit of putting a hashtag in is it can collect like information across the environment, just like you can in Twitter. So let's say, for example, I want to create a new hashtag called, oh, there's already one there. There's called algebra rules. So I want to let everyone in my class know that algebra rules. I've started typing in the hashtag AL. There's already one in there called algebra rules. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to click post. So what I've done with this very simple post now is, number one, anyone who's following me will automatically get this on their newsfeed. Number two, notice that the video is being able to be played right from my YouTube stream, my newsfeed stream. So the student doesn't even have to leave the newsfeed in order to actually collect this information. I've also given a link to the YouTube video. I've also given a link to Mr. Cash specifically. So Mr. Cash will get an email in his inbox saying Mr. Larson mentioned you. So he'll have a direct link to this. And again, the algebra rules hashtag. Anyone else who uses the hashtag algebra rules, if I were to click on that hashtag, it would list all of the times in Office 365 where that hashtag is being used. And again, the newsfeed is a very great place to increase your private social network. If anything on here had happened that I didn't already follow, I would be given the opportunity to follow it. So for example, if I wasn't already following the algebra rules hashtag, which I wasn't, because at the very bottom of my video it says follow algebra rules, I can click on that, and now I'm actually following that hashtag. So the next time someone uses my algebra rules hashtag, my newsfeed will be updated. If I wasn't following Mr. Cash, it would say follow Mr. Cash at the bottom, and I could follow him. And again, anytime someone mentions Mr. Cash, I would be notified on my newsfeed. The nice thing about this from a teacher who's flipping their classroom is, let's say again, I'm an algebra teacher. I've posted this at 4 p.m. on a Friday. I've now shut down my laptop. I'm going home for the weekend, or I'm going away for the weekend, and I'm not going to have internet where I am. A student in my class can view this video, and maybe they have problems with the content at the 2-minute mark. What the student can do is having problems is they can reply to this post and say, you know what, Mr. Larson, I don't understand what's happening at the 2-minute mark. And they can post that. Anyone else who's following this will get that message as well. So another student in the class could potentially come on and they could answer that student's question. So you can start to see the collaborative environment that we're building here. And you can get peer-peer helping right within a simple news post like this. So it is a really, really great tool. I'm just going to refresh my newsfeed here. So I've got 10 new things happening since I started. Aw, thanks, Mr. Cash. So Jim's obviously seen my video and says, thanks for posting this useful video. I can then like that, or I can do whatever I want with that. Much to Mr. Cash's dismay, I'm going to delete this post just to show you that the only person who can delete a newsfeed post is the person who posted it. So again, I get this question a lot as well. Can a teacher delete a student's post? No, you can't. Basically, only the student who posted it can delete it. But remember, everything we do in Office 365 is accountable. The user has physically logged into the environment, and anything that's posted is posted by them. So if you get a student who's posted something inappropriate, it's certainly a teachable moment as far as digital citizenship goes. You can approach that student, and much like you would handle it in the classroom with a passed note or someone chewing gum or, I don't know, whatever rules are bad in school now, you can certainly handle it that way, and you can, discipline the student and have them delete the post. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this post here. And it says, do you want to get rid of the conversation? And I say delete it, and that post is now gone. We talked about people, document sites, tags. Oh, if you want to follow someone and they're not on your newsfeed, you can actually go and intentionally follow someone. And actually, this was a great example that someone in one of my other sessions said. So I've clicked on the number of people I follow. I can now click on the follow button here, and I can go ahead and I can follow whoever I want. So one of the questions from before is, can I use the distribution list to follow everyone in my class? Now, the answer to that question is no. You have to follow the individuals in your class individually. However, you don't necessarily have to type all their names in. If every student in your class follows you and they post something to the status update, you're going to get notified that they've posted something, and then you can just click follow, 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 follow on all their posts. So it's a really easy way to follow all the students in your class if you choose to do that. Or you could just type all their names in to here. That would work as well. Now back to the news feed. The other thing you can do within the newsfeed, at the very bottom, it tells you what the trending tags are. So if someone's using a tag a lot in the system, you can certainly choose to follow that tag. So 31 people have used the tag Office 365 in the last week. You can also search within the newsfeed area. And you can search everything. You can search people. You can search conversations. Or you can just search this site. So let's say, for example, I wanted to search kid president. I'll search for everything. And I can see, we've got some postings here regarding kid president. Oh, someone posted a blog post about kid president. Anyway, so the search feature in Office 365 is really good. One other thing I wanted to mention as well. Right, so I've talked about the following tab. The Everyone tab does expose you to everything in the environment. So if your newsfeed isn't busy enough, you're more than welcome to click the Everyone button. And even if you're not following someone, you'll see exactly what's happening. So again, here's a student who's posted something or had some feedback just minutes ago. Here's another teacher that I don't follow who posted something 3 minutes ago. So again, if you're bored one day, by all means, click the Everyone button, and you can certainly scroll through the newsfeed. And if you find something interesting, by all means, you can follow those individuals right from their posts, and they get an email notification saying that you're following them. Actually, that's another important thing to mention as well. Excuse me. You can follow anyone you want in the environment, but as a user, you can't stop someone from following you. So they can follow you, you can't have them unfollow you. You can unfollow an individual, but you can't stop someone from following you. But you can see who is following you. And again, that's done by clicking on the number next to people. So I'm currently following 67 people, and 172 people are following me. And if I click on the 172 number, I'll see a list of all the individuals who follow me. Some students follow me, some teachers follow me, some administrators follow me, because I've got very interesting things to say. The Mentions tab. Every time someone mentions you in the system, you'll also get a post here. So if I click on this post, these are all the people who have mentioned me. And actually, during the startup of Office 365, I've used this a lot. People know I'm sort of administrating the system, so if there's a problem, oftentimes they'll say, @Mr. Larson, I can't change my profile picture, and I'll go on and say, that's broken right now. This is how it works. So I'll actively go on to my mentions and I'll post responses. I've done that for both teachers and students. Before we leave the newsfeed page, the last thing I want to talk about here is the blog. And you've seen it before. On the BYOD page, there's a separate button for my blog. But it does take you to the blog, which is embedded within Office 365. But we thought the blog was so important because it improves student literacy that we've actually taken a separate button and placed it on the BYOD page. Sure.
You deleted that post where you posted that video to me, but I just want to make it clear that when I go to mentions, there's a record of that post there because you mentioned
Correct.
Specifically, it's not deleted from there.
Yeah, I'll just summarize that for the folks who are online. What Jim mentioned was, even though I deleted the post because I'd mentioned Mr. Cash specifically in the post, there's still a record of that mention on his side. So there's still a digital footprint, I guess, of that comment made, even though it's not specifically in the newsfeed anymore. So from the newsfeed, I now want to go to the blog area. This is where you find your blog. You can either find it through the BYOD page or on your newsfeed page. I'll click on that. So every student and teacher who has an Office 365 account also has the ability to create a blog post. And the blog in Office 365 is actually a really, really powerful tool. You can see I've got a couple things here. I've embedded some YouTube videos. I've embedded some Word documents, and I'll talk just really quickly on how to create a blog post. Series of buttons over here on the right-hand side. The first one is create a blog post, so I'm going to go ahead and click create a post. Relatively straightforward. There's only really 2 boxes to fill in. So I'll type test post on the top one here. And as soon as I click down to the body, you'll notice, for anyone of you who've used Office 2007 or above, I get that very, very similar ribbon that comes across the top, which really gives me all the power to do things within the blog post. So I'll say, this is a test post. And again, like you'd expect, I can select that text. I can make the font bigger. I can bold it. I can change the color of it. I can do a whole bunch of relatively straightforward things. I can make it a bulleted list, a numbered list. The real power in the blog tool comes from this Insert tab here. Now, I can insert a table. I can insert a picture. I can insert a link. I can upload a file. So if you have a video that you've produced which is compatible with the environment, you can actually upload the video right into the blog post. But the most powerful button found in the blog is the Embed Code button. And that's where you create something in a Web 2.0 tool elsewhere, be it Prezi or YouTube or Google Maps or Bing Maps, something like that. And you take the code from there and you embed it in your blog. So the content doesn't reside in your blog, but a little window into that content resides in your blog. So I'll give you an example of that. So let's say, for example, I wanted to embed that same video I used before from the Khan Academy. This time, I would not take the URL. So I would not copy and paste that. Because all Web 2.0 tools, or at least most of them anyway, have a way of embedding content. And that, on YouTube, that can be found under the Share tab. So if I click Share, you'll notice there's an Embed tab. And if I click that, there's the little snippet of code that I need to copy and paste into my blog. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come back to my posts here, and I'm going to choose to embed code, and I'm going to paste it. And again, Office 365 is smart enough to know it's YouTube embed code. I click Insert, and really that's now embedded that code into my blog post. The next thing you can do with a blog, if you're familiar with blogs, is you can categorize posts. So events, ideas, and opinions are the three that are there by default. But one of the suggestions we've had from earlier presentation that I've given is you may want the students in your class to create a category for each course you teach. So as a teacher, you can see the posts that relate to the English curriculum, the posts that relate to the science curriculum, and I'll show you how to create categories in just a second. I'm not going to categorize this post, and I'm just going to click Publish. So I've now created a post here. You can see, just like before.
Let's say we have the equation 7.
That simple equations post, again, is embedded directly into my blog post, but it's referencing the YouTube video out on YouTube. And anyone who follows me now sees Mr. Larson has posted a new blog post. So if you do follow me, you do see that I've posted a blog post as well. So again, if you follow the students in your class and they use the blog tool, they can certainly do that. To manage a post, so let's say I wanted to delete this blog post. Instead of create a post, you'd click on Manage Posts. And just like any other SharePoint list that you've seen before, here are all the posts that I have. There's a number of different ways you can go about deleting them. The most common way probably is clicking on the ellipses, the 3 little dots to the right of the item. And you can see if I click on that, I get all of the options that I have: view item, edit item, workflows, alert me, shared with, or delete. So I could delete it there. But more commonly, I guess, and if you're going to delete multiple items, so you can see I have a little checkbox here. One of the other ways you can do it is you can click it. You can hit delete on the keyboard. That will do it. But you can also come up here to these top menus. So I'm going to click on the Items button. And one of the options on the Items button is Delete Item. So I'm going to click that. So really, there are 3 different ways you can delete something within the SharePoint environment. I'll just click on OK here. That post is now gone. Back to home. Manage comments. So just like a regular blog post, if you post something, someone can certainly come on and they can comment on it. If someone posts something that you don't like, or I don't know, or you don't want displayed, you can certainly come in and manage your comments. So you can delete comments and that sort of thing. Categories. As I mentioned before, you may want to have your students create English, math, science categories. They do that by coming in here, clicking Manage Categories, creating a new item, and typing in a new item. So I think I've already got English. I'm going to add math. And now I have English and math. And again, if I want to delete the ones that aren't relevant, I could do it the same way as I showed you before. So now I've only got English and math. The last thing I'll show you, because I know it's been a question quite often, when you go into a blog, it's called blog. That's what it's called. So if you're following 30 kids in your class and all of their blogs are named blog, it might be difficult for you to discern whose blog is whose. So one of the other things you may want to do is have the students change the name of their blog. And that's done relatively easily through the little cog found at the top right-hand corner of the screen under Settings. And you go to Site Settings. And the very first site setting you see on the upper right-hand corner of the screen is something called title description and logo. So if I click on there, I can change the title of my blog. So mine used to say blog. I changed it to Mr. Larson's blog. And then I clicked the OK button or Save button at the bottom of the screen. And that changed the name of my blog. So that might be something else you do with the students in your class.